Hey, what's up? My name's J.M. Chaley and welcome to my channel. This week, I want to talk about the lessons I learned when I self-published my very first book. Well, technically, The Wicked Wound of Whitney Hill was my first book that I published. But no, my first novel release was The Unlife of Lisa Cooper. So, now that I've talked myself into a corner, what I want to talk about is the lessons learned while I published The Unlife of Lisa Cooper. But let's talk a little bit about The Unlife of Lisa Cooper itself, if I may, for just a moment, because I'm so excited about this book, you guys. Vampire, action, adventure. Lisa Cooper is a kick-ass protagonist who's staved off her curse for over 160 years. It's left her bereft of the powers due to a vampire her age, and that makes it tough to protect the ones that she loves when the dark things of the supernatural world come out of the darkness. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of action adventure, but there's also a really cool dog. There's some cozy moments, and there's a romantic arc. It's got a lot of stuff crammed into, 70-something thousand words? It's a relatively short book for a novel, but I'm in love with this book. I had a great time writing it, and I hope you would enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it. It has been received very well among its life in Kindle Vella. It became a top fave book for 13 weeks in a row, 17 weeks total. That means this story was in the top 250 titles out of all the tens of thousands of Kindle Vella titles in the world. And since its release in novel format, it's already received several more 5-star reviews. It's doing really well. People are digging it, and I hope you check it out, and I hope you love reading it as much as I loved writing it. Okay, so let's talk about my lessons learned when I published The Unlife of Lisa Cooper. We'll start with KDP. So KDP is Amazon's publishing platform, Kindle Direct Publishing. This was pretty straightforward. KDP is a very easy platform to use, and if you're selling through Amazon, it's super straightforward. Now, on Amazon, at the time of my release, I only offered paperback and ebook natively through KDP. If you wanted hardback, they could sell you the hardback, but it came as print on demand through Ingram Spark. We'll get to more hardback stuff in a moment. But the title itself, when you go to set up your book in KDP, it asks you if there are any offensive words, naughty language, that sort of thing in your book. Now, I had bad words in The Unlife of Lisa Cooper, right? She can sometimes have a potty mouth. I'm sorry, but whatever. So I checked the little box that said, yes, naughty language. And since it was not a YA novel, I placed the book at 18 plus because I wanted, the category of adult, not children, not YA, not teens, nothing, right? So naughty language, 18 plus, fine. So when the book was released, it didn't show up in a search. Like if I typed in, The Unlife of Lisa Cooper, it didn't show up. So I couldn't understand it. But when I went into, my profile on KDP, or if I typed in the ISBN number, there it was. So the book was on Amazon, but it wasn't showing up under searches. So I'm thinking, well, this is a problem. If someone's looking to buy my book, they're not going to be able to type in The Unlife of Lisa Cooper and find it. My Kindle Vella title came up, but not the novel by the same name. So I opened up a help ticket with Amazon. And the short story is, because I clicked the box that said 18 plus and that there were naughty words, it listed it as something that was sexually explicit, even though there wasn't anything there. And if you have a book that's sexually explicit, erotica, or whatever, Amazon won't put that title in front of you on a simple search. You have to search directly for its ISBN number or something like that. You have to do a jump through a few more hurdles to get it to appear in your search query. Now, when I went in to change that information, I noticed that an extra box was checked that I didn't check. And it was, does this book contain any sexually explicit scenes or pictures? And that was checked on. And I'm like, I didn't check that. So something glitchy happened, I think. So if you're releasing a book and it doesn't show up in a search, and you've checked that, first box for naughty languages, but not the second box for sexy times, you may get whacked. There may be some sort of bug or who knows what with Amazon where you get whacked by that. And when I'm talking to the person, they're like, well, why did you set this at 18 plus? And I'm like, well, because it's not a YA title. Is everything 18 plus supposed to be rated R? It was weird. So I changed the age range of my book to under 18, and it was silly. I think Amazon, that's something that they need to fix. But if you run into it, that was the problem. The other thing I ran into with KDP is through hardcovers. Now, the paperbacks, of course, they print natively, and they were delivered very quickly. I had a lot of friends and family who bought my hardcover version because they know me in real life, and they were like, oh my God, my nephew has a book. I'm buying the hardcover version. And thank you so much. Lots of love for everybody. But I felt bad because those were print on demand, and they took a lot longer to print and deliver than the paperbacks. And I mean a lot longer. So we're talking, a month to get the book. I think that's accurate for some people. And I get it, right? Because Amazon puts in the order through Ingram Spark, and then Ingram Spark prints it and sends it to me. And Amazon can't control Ingram Spark's rate of printing. So that's something you should keep in mind. If you are going to sell hardcovers, maybe you have them on Amazon and through Ingram Spark, so you have the quick delivery through Amazon if they go there, and then for the wide distribution, you still have Ingram Spark. That's what I'm going to do for going forward for future book releases. I'm going to still offer ebook, paperback, and hardback, but I'm going to do all three of those natively with KDP, and then I'm going to do the rest through, Ingram Spark and Drafted Digital for wide distribution. So that's just something to keep in mind. It took a long time for my customers to get hardbacks. Moving on to Drafted Digital. This was another super, super easy platform. The only thing I ran into, the one problem I ran into was because I use Drafted Digital for ebook, I wanted the links in the back to work. So you're on your e-reader and you see a link to like jmchaley.com or whatever, you can tap it and boom, you go. Well, I have a page that says, also by, where I talk about the other stuff I've written, and that you can click on it and go. And I was talking about The Wicked Wound of Whitney Hill, which, by the way, is a short story that takes place in between the events of the Unlife of Lisa Cooper. Lisa's not in this. The Coven of Witches, well, I shouldn't call them all witches, the Coven of Spellcasting Women that she works with, that's their story and what they do in these woods. It takes place somewhere around before episode 22 within this book. All tied together. But anyway, I had a link to The Wicked Wound of Whitney Hill on this also by the author page. And because it was only exclusively through Amazon, it was an Amazon link. Well, when you distribute to Kobo and Apple, they don't like you putting links to their competitors in any ebook that they're selling. So Kobo and Apple refused to sell my book with that page the way it was. Now, in hindsight, I could have used my bookshop.org link for anything printed. Bookshop.org doesn't do ebooks yet, but I heard they're going to be doing them in come 2024. So that's something I could use going forward, because Bookshop.org won't be seen as a competitor of Kobo and Apple. They're more of a reseller. So if you have a page like that and you're sending folks to, also buy book page, if you will, see if you can use bookshop.org to set up an account with them and sell that through your virtual bookstore. And you can also, when you do set up your bookshop.org page, select an indie bookstore in your area to partner with, so that they get the percentage of that sale as if that sale went through their bookstore instead of Amazon. Ingram Spark. So Ingram Spark was, again, very straightforward. But I didn't do a pre-sale for the Unlife of Lisa Cooper because I wanted to see if I can get all the sales to come in while it was live, because Amazon doesn't count pre-sales towards your the number of books you need to sell to become a top seller. I wanted to not offer pre-sales, so hopefully everything I sold through Amazon would go towards the tally I needed to be a top seller, a best-selling author in whatever that category was on Amazon. Now, because of that, I released that book with no lead time. For Ingram Spark, when I said, yes, go live, the book cover for my hardback did not appear. It appeared on paperback and ebook through Amazon because those books were natively published through KDP. But on my hardcover, there was no book image. It wasn't showing up. So when I went to Ingram Spark and I said, what's the deal? Why isn't I gave you my image. You have the image of my book. Why aren't you sharing that image with Amazon? Well, the metadata that they use for their books doesn't completely populate into Amazon and other booksellers until at least 30 days, somewhere within 30 days. It didn't take 30 days for me. It took maybe a couple of weeks, but there was maybe a week and a half where there was no image to my hardcover book. And I was panicking because I'm this looks unprofessional. This doesn't look cool. It's just a generic Amazon with a little smile arrow thing that they have image. And I'm nah, where's my cover? But that was it. Now, if I offered a pre-sale, then maybe that hiccup would have happened during a pre-sale, and maybe it wouldn't have been noticed as much. But the book was live and it had that. But yeah, so just keep that in mind, that when you go live on Ingram Spark, for the markets that are selling them elsewhere in the world, your cover image won't show up maybe until sometime within a couple of weeks to a month. The second thing that happened through Ingram Spark was completely on me, and I feel like a dummy. While I was making these sales in October 6th, October 7th, and watching it like a hawk and going, oh, did I sell? How many have I sold this far? How many copies have I sold? And I was going on Ingram Spark because I didn't know where to go to look at my sales, because I knew my hardcovers were coming from Ingram Spark. And a lot of people were telling me, hey, about the hardcover. So I go to Ingram Spark, 0. I click on the reports, 0 sales. I'm that's weird. And I'd see my numbers going up in KDP. Now, the other thing is that KDP says, hey, if you buy a hardcover with me, you get this many points, these little Kindle points. For every $1 you spend, you get 3 Kindle points. And if you get so many Kindle points, you get a prize or something. I don't know what it is. But I haven't really looked into that. But you get something. So I'm okay, well, if Amazon is giving away Kindle points for hardcover sales, then the hardcover sales must be counting through Amazon. They must be. They weren't. I didn't even bother going into the KDP report, which I should have, and changing the format of the book to show, are these sales through print or hardback? Paperback or hardback. Because if I had done that, I would have seen that it was only counting my paperback sales and not my hardback sales. But when I went to Ingram Spark, it showed no sales. So had I checked this early, I probably would have panicked. Maybe I would have opened a ticket through Ingram Spark and said, what the hell, where are my sales for hardbacks? And what Ingram Spark would have told me is, they'll show up at the end of the month. And they did. And I didn't notice it until November. The number of books that I thought I sold doubled when I saw what was sold through Ingram Spark, because so many people bought my hardcover book. Had I known this, that Amazon doesn't count print-on-demand books, even if you buy them through Amazon, because it wasn't listing them among my tallies. Had I known, I may have made a bestseller. If all of those numbers had gone through, I might have made it. So that's a kick in the butt. Now maybe it counted, it gave you the points and it counted the sales towards the top seller, and it just didn't count it just wasn't showing me the royalties. I had to find the royalties there. So maybe it was counting those sales towards the top seller. I don't know. I don't know how their algorithm works. So maybe I didn't miss out. But the lesson learned through Ingram Spark, whether you're doing this crazy thing that I did or not, don't panic if you don't see your sales showing up through Ingram Spark right away. Wait till the end of the month. They'll show up eventually. They'll be there. And then you can, see how you did and the royalties and all that crap. So that's a very long-winded, reasoning of what happened to me. For my next release, I'm going to have hardcovers natively sold through KDP. And I'm going to see if my rankings improve and my sales improve based on that. And we'll see the difference between Amazon counting sales if they're natively through KDP or if they're print on demand. And hey, if you already know the answer to this, by the way, if you've lived this out in YouTube land and you've done this and you know the answer, please let me know in the comments. I mean, I'm just trying stuff out. This is very new to me. I'm trying it out. As I learn stuff, you know my channel, right? You know what I do. I learn stuff, I pass it on to you. I don't have all the answers yet. I'm learning. I pass on what I learn. I'm not the self-publishing guru, right? I'm going to stumble and make mistakes and, kind of claw my way through everything that's out there. And when I find a way that works, I'll let you know. But if you've already been down this road and you know the answer, please let me know. All right, so that wraps it up. Some lessons learned. I know now what to do, what not to do when it comes to KDP, Drafted Digital, Ingram Spark. I know what to expect. Hopefully this stuff has been helpful to you if you're planning on self-publishing, if you're planning on using these platforms. If you like this video, if you found it helpful, please smush that like button. And as always, please subscribe. I post most Thursdays. You can follow me on social media. I'm all over the place these days, but I'm most talkative, active on Facebook and X. But definitely check in the description. There's all my socials down below. You can also check out jmchaley.com. Click on say hello, contact me. Send me a message. Let's keep in touch. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.